How you doing, team? It is Kaz in the trenches with Kaz, and I feel like I'm too close to my microphone. Step back a bit. A bit of a sneak jump on here, team. At the moment, it is so hard for me to predict when I'm going to be jumping on. Therefore, you've sort of got to catch his mitt, in slips, take it as you get it. Joey Moyle is first off the bat, followed instantly by Fire Live. It was a very close competition there. Joshy, Mr. Len, good to have you here. Exo Challenger. I feel challenged. Drew Curtis, Mr. Buckaroony, all the way from up north. We might have a cause, my friend, and the cause is a human being. The cause is an engineer. The cause is someone who did very well in Invictus Games. It is someone at the moment who is suffering quite badly. And I'm just vetting the information through She Is Shining. We know who I'm talking about. To be able to reach out and help this veteran, right, who's in a deep trough at the moment. I don't want to say his name, but let's just say that he's a combat veteran who was visible wounds, kind of Humpty Dumpty. So we're going to see what we can do about getting a GoFundMe for him in the trenches with Kaz. We'll spear point that with our Patreon, our loyal Patreon members, which I do not have a link to below in this video, but I should. And there's many people that want to try and reach me on the bat phone. If you want to have a one-on-one communication link within the trenches with Kaz that is separate to the Robin phone, which is battered, and it's going to be hard for you to get hold of me. $5 a month. We help out others, and that gives you a direct link. So when you talk, and we help you out. That's the bat phone. Patreon, Legion member. Get your Legion number. Do it now. If you're in jail, break out. So let's get back to our people. We've got Marsh Raider there. We've got Zerg, Ice Zerg, bigger below the water than what he is above it. We've got William. We've got Poo's Lump. Don't want to stand on him. Tony Sergo, garlic bread. I haven't had dinner yet. Now I'm hungry. We've got Matty White. Mr. Buckaroony is here. Hopi. We've got Gobbly Poop. We've got Spartan Mouth. Does that mean you're a truth teller, sir? We've got Mikey Ledger. We've got Joey Moore. Yep. Reese Lyons. We've got Junior here. Afternoon, Kaz got my enlistment date on the 3rd of which month? March? That's not far away. Josh, he's done his final PFA on Monday, smashed it. So I'm all set for the 30th of March. So that's you again next month. Start thinking about what you want to do with your last days. I recommend maybe give your job a little bit of a see you later, bit of a dance, see you later, hug to the boss or a slap on the back and say, I'm not coming back, and get on your way. We've got our lovely Lauren here, and we've got some great news for Lauren, which I can't share yet, but I will share with you once she gives me permission, the green light to do so. Matt Man. You thought I was talking about you, brother. We've got Stoddy, your G'day Kaz and team. He's our local medic. If pain still persists, sue your family doctor. Waiting for the train home. You Howzo. Kane is here from Mackay. Dane Smith, G'day Kaz. Not sure if you got my message on Instagram, but I'm enlisting on the 18th of May as a vehicle mechanic, Dane DS, directing staff. That's what my father did too. Ramey are some of the best people in our army, but they are so busy they don't even know how to use the rank system. They're fantastic. Leo, Stuntman for Life, is always here. We've got Madison, lovely Madison, Square Gardens right there. Hey, team, got to drive home, then I'll be on. No worries, listen to it tomorrow, because guess what? Someone's got your back, not just anyone, JC. Here he is, and JC is an excellent bit of terra firma, a bit of bedrock that can assist me tonight as backing me up on what I'm about to talk about, that every single experience within your military career or police, fire brigade, those ones that don't really get the thank yous, okay, every experience, every individual, different lane is different, despite the fact we might have the same uniform, the same equipment, and be in the same station. It's different for everyone. Bailey Trudgeon, here you go, mate. Love your shit, man. Waiting for my assessment date. Remember, that's all about psychological and some of the surprises that you might not know about your own body, mate. I hope you don't get any of those surprises. We've got Ed B, who is our US veteran that I go to for information. He is the gentleman in blue there, the moderator. All right. Clearly, you can't sleep again at the moment. I'm sorry that's happening to you, buddy. Well, James Cutacaz marched out of Kapuka on the 1st of December last year. Thanks for the tips, mate. James Carter, I cannot wait to have a phone call with you soon and for you to tell me to validate or upgrade me with the information and how it has got any different for you, okay, than what I've been telling you to prepare for. So if you see anything a little bit different, let me know, mate. We've got a beautiful crowd here. But what tonight, we're going to jump into what tonight is about a little bit. Okay, guys, when we put out the video the other day, the Australian Army is the best small army in the world, I totally agree with that. I thoroughly agree with that, and I can give you details on as to why I say that. And then we've had some trolls, some of them misguided, some of them are trolls, some of them aren't misguided, some of them are just really, really negative sons of bitches. But then we've got people that are really misguided and feel like they can and attack an institution that cannot attack them back, that they wouldn't talk about face to face, or they might just get their back bent the wrong way, not like a sailor. We have a rules of engagement that we adhere to overseas, but when we come home to Australia, it feels like we're low-hanging fruit, like we're easy to attack for the media, for the identity politics groups, for the trolls, for those that think that they know what to do, that they could do our job, despite being one of the 4,231 that actually do it. Now, one of the comments is pinned to the front of this thumbnail, and I'll read that out to you in a moment. But amongst the messages that we were receiving about dumb grunts, personal attacks, I don't give a shit what you say about me. Couldn't give a rat's ass. Because guess what? You are so diluted by fantastic comments by people that are following their calling and becoming better human beings, becoming better sons and daughters, becoming better citizens of the country, becoming better versions of themselves. When I receive their messages, all it does is tell me how sad it is for those that don't stand for anything, can sit back and attack an institution that does so much without asking for anything in return. We need to remember that this is a channel that doesn't run down other cause. We might say, don't go to that one to help you out. We don't run down other people necessarily. What we do is give you an objective opinion without being politically correct on why we come to the summary of the subject we speak of. So for someone to come to this channel and then throw negativity in, which is borderline or absolute fake news, then that's wrong, because there's a whole lot of other channels you could attack. Why don't you go and attack some of the minority groups or some of the cultural groups that you know won't have rules of engagement, that will seek out and close with you through your IP address? All we'll do is shake you off. It sounds weird. And have a bit of a laugh at you and feel sorry for you maybe. I even had someone say they forgive me. Forgive me for being what do we call it? Constrained to my ideas and experiences. You feel like going, dude, you've got no idea how many videos we put out, how many phone calls of people from their parents as well are happy that we are here providing a service that is non-existent anywhere else. Right. So I'm going to read this quickly to you because this matters. And then I'm going to go into why you are so important and why you are worth helping and why we do what we do and why I can tell you right now that I totally wish that I could be exactly where you are right now, getting ready to put the boots back on, the uniform on, look in the mirror, get that Ellen DeGenerate hairstyle, and then step back into the fog of war and get ready for the next test that waits me each day amongst the guys and gals that I call family. So this was the comment we received. I'll get back to your questions in a sec, team. Here we are. I'm not doxing this guy because he's actually put his own name in. I don't know who he is. His name is Robert Troy, 2 first names. Confused me already. Think about it. You volunteer to defend freedom and democracy by signing away your freedom and democracy and turn yourself into a slave for the Australian government who must obey. Well, that doesn't make sense. You know willingly that the military is a dictatorship, that you go in there. You're not going in there for what you can get out of it. You're going in there because you want to stand for something. You want to give back. Some people that are takers only will not understand how a giver thinks. So there we go. I move on after digressing. Must obey. There seems to be something inherently illogical and corrupt in that. Clearly, a taker only. Now, this is where he loses me with his lack of English here. Let me trick into believing you will need to be specialist to get in and know the dumb kind of special. Prepare to be excluded unless you are one of those insider failed jockstrap douchebags. How to prepare to enlist to go back to school and develop a real career instead, honestly. Now, you're talking about an institution of more than 60,000 people that have left the comfort to go into the various shades of commitment to the nation. Now, which ones are dumb? Is it the doctors, or is it the OPSIGs that speak multiple languages? Is it the people in intelligence? Is it the SASR? Is it the commandos? Is it the officers? Now, which ones are dumb? Now, I see people where the rubber meets the road that can make a decision like that are a third of my age nearly, and they do it with limited information, and they give a stellar plan based on IQ, fitness, group planning, execution, and delivery. There's nothing dumb about it. And for this gentleman, I would ask him, then what do you see? You found it. What do you see is this stellar calling career that we have to stand on a scale and be measured by you? Because as far as I'm concerned, I take my hat off to every one of you as you are joining the military prior to meeting you, knowing you, because I see you doing something selfless. I know that you are about to walk into something that's extremely hard. Experiences will differ for every single one of you. What you saw just happen then, I wasn't going to mention it because I don't like the fact that YouTube takes a cut out of any super chat, which is what's happened there to Overflowing Stage 3 Pitt, who's in the military. Robert Troy has no idea on how good it feels and is. This is someone, team, who has just passed his training, Kapuka and School of Infantry, and is here right now testifying to you that he's made the right decision. I'll read it again. Robert Troy has no idea on how good it feels and is. From the horse's mouth. Fantastic. Great to have you here, and thank you very much for putting another little pebble on the credibility of the choice that is being made of those at the moment that are quite nervous about, am I making the right idea? That can see 1,000 comments that are up, but then hear one detrimental comment that makes them think, that's what my uncle said. Oh no, shit, am I making the right decision? Is this forever? Do I switch to Sony instead of staying with Apple? I don't know. Leo the Wanker Stuntman for life. Thank you very much. Boom, we are back. Got to catch up. Well done. Guys and gals, any donations you do make, keep them below $5. People power, so we can use that to be able to stimulate other projects that we'll have on board, including the van. So, Lauren, Great News Kane, Ed B, and Overflowing Pit, you'll always be known as the first super chat that ever happened as Channel 2.0, not to be mixed up with Fortnite Chapter 2, which is about to commence tomorrow for those that play it. Ed B, not even worth the time to comment on Mr. Troy's comment. This is why we do it, bud, Ed. I know you'd be saying to me, Kaz, pull the leash back, relax, son, relax. But there is a chance that someone else in here that may be in a precarious moment thinking, oh, no, am I making the wrong decision, could have seen that comment. And I'd like them to be able to see all of the positive comments of our fantastic veteran community that come to In the Trenches with Kaz and understand one thing. When people have a go at the military, what they don't tell you is the reason why they can do that is because we're not allowed to get on Facebook. We're not allowed to get on YouTube. We're not allowed to get on Instagram and say, I'm in the army and I'm telling you to go F yourself for your version of what you think we do and what we are. But I'm outside that circle now. Get away, Cord. And that gives me the chance to say to people, although I'm not going to necessarily buy it, I will highlight your comment because you came here because you wanted to be heard. Yeah. JC had something down there. Drew, ex-NFL player, killed his 3 kids. Jesus Christ. I jumped into it there. JC, you see what I did then, JC? Jesus Christ. Yeah. Kaz, time for a minute's silence for those 3 kids that were killed by their father. When did that happen? First response officers, mother of children, and other witnesses. We can definitely do that. Okay, Kane, no more from you, okay, until you get a good job under your belt. All right, mate? I see you there. Hat, tip to you. Not too Cal. Is Mr. P here yet? I hope so. Poor bugger. He's not doing too well at the moment. What we're going to do for JC, mate, what we can do is take our hat off for these children that have lost their lives. I really do not know what that's about. I don't happen in Brisbane today. Bad shit happens every day. But you asked, it's going to happen. We don't do the less we forget, okay, for non-military, non-police, etc. But what we can do is give a moment of silence to those little ones, and we'll never understand the logic behind it. Right. So out of respect to JC and his fraternity of those that wear the blue, the thin blue line, and protect us while we sleep, right, then I'm going to take my hat off and we'll give a minute to them. Okay, JC, kick it off in 5 seconds. Okay, team, that probably wasn't a minute. But what we will say is we could add a lot of people to that list. We could add the 1,700, I believe, at least medical staff as well that are working so hard over in China for the coronavirus that have now been infected. If you can have those kids' names up and it doesn't cause you too much, JC, too much pain, then can you put their names up so it becomes real, please, mate? Reese Lyons, I feel really lucky, because when I told my boss, because workers and family, they were super supportive, and my boss told me when they were in the reserves. There you go. It's well done. Joseph Barker, Hannibal Barker, just got back from St. John's First Aid. I'm here. That should be something that every school kid learns. Every single school kid, I believe. Thank you very much for your donation. Nutsu Cow. I'm going to explain something to you. Just hold off on your comments for a second, team. When people say to you, the army is this, the army is that, remember something. It is a calling to people. Either their father was in it, their mother was in it, their uncle, their grandfather might have lost his life in it. But let me explain something to you. If you're wondering what you could do for your career and you're 18 years old now, 17, 21, and you're ready for a change, think about this for a scenario. I'd always rather you start at the apex, as closer to infantry as possible or armoured corps. The reason why I say that is you're going to only get one crack at this cherry while your body is good to go. You get out there, you're in the helicopters, you're in the LCM8s, you're in the exchanges with the Marines, right? You're firing the weapons, you're getting the qualifications, you're firing the 84 anti-armor weapon systems, maybe the javelin, maybe become a sniper. You crack at special forces. So you start off at the high tide mark. And then after 4 years, remembering for the first 4 years really are, all you is a Coke bottle, is a Coke bottle that's been shaken up and it goes everywhere. You don't know who you are or what you are for the first 4 years. And then it calms down. And then you start to get control of your career. And then you start to become a better version of who you are and a calmer version, right? So let's just say you've done infantry for 4 years, 6 years, okay, and you decide, you know what, I've got a girlfriend now that is worth buying dinner for, or someone that I'm moving in with. Maybe I want a little bit less bush or something. Maybe I want to future-proof myself and do something else. Bam, time out. This is where a lot of people make a goddamn big mistake. They get out. They get out because either a boss, because of a partner, or because they cannot maintain that fizz of their employment. Why would you get out and then be a non-uniformed, non-medical covered, trainee paid version of what you could have been, because you're not allowed to take a pay reverse. What I mean by that, if you go from infantry, you will stay at that pay as you go and become a trainee when you core transfer and then go to engineers. You go to engineers and decide, okay, we've done a little bit of stuff here. What I'm going to do now is get some tickets in vehicles. It could be in plant operation or something, or you decide I'm going to go to transport. And then I've been in transport for another 4 years, 6 years, get some rank, become a fleet manager, so to speak, learning how to give orders, detailed orders, while getting all of your tickets without being embarrassed because you don't have a big L plate. What you've got is a convoy of people where no one's laughing at you, driving to truck stops and that, having a good time. And then from there, you become a fuel specialist, like Tom of the Jungle, where you, by going to that, learn about HazChem, where you learn to be about firefighting, containment, bulk fuels, how to transport it, what to do with it. And then before you know it, 16 years later, when people are going, oh, what qualification did you have? You've gone with the Iliad scrolls, and then you're working for Qantas, you know, with aviation fuel because you were posted to 5 Aviation and knew exactly how to handle it. And now you're buying your house just as a byproduct of going to work with all the qualifications where you were never paid a trainee's wage while getting free medical, half market rent, in uniform, having a ball with your brothers getting 3 lunches a day. That'll make more sense later. Hopefully on Stationary Pit, no more from you, sir. I know you're getting paid well, but never more than one donation, team. Infantry is good. You get to shoot, talk to your mates all day, go in helicopter, see tanks, 155 millimeter. Is it what you make of it? It's a beautiful place. It is. Every day, every group, when you join, you're going to have a different experience to everyone around you, including those in your same section. How do you tolerate it? Is it awesome for you? Is it hard for you? Did you pick the right core? Be honest to yourself. Don't bullshit yourself because it sounds good, because you'll come unstuck, because they might just give you exactly what you want and you might not be up to it. You may never be up to it. And there's a bell curve of competency. You might be those that are just scraping through, or you might be one of those guys that's flying, Neville, flying, and has no dramas whatsoever, and then get identified for your prowess, and then you either spear off, jump out of the nest and go to special forces, or you get promoted, and then from there you just step up and step up and step up until you get to one rank above where you know what you're doing well, all right? But you've got all those people in the centre too that are having a ball. 3 lunches a day. It's fantastic. Good evening to Joshua Goodwin. G'day, mate. Lauren is shining. Mr. Patterson's here. Just got off the line paying bills in a stealth attack. Look, it is, mate. We've got Tommy from Artillery who's ringing right now. I'm sorry, mate. I'm on the stream at the moment. If I knew that you knew we were on the stream, he's probably going to say something that can help it out. Sorry about that. So don't bullshit yourself. Ask yourself, what do you want from the military? And please stay in longer than 4 years, because you work so hard in the first 6 months without a day off that you really need to let yourself get into a groove before you make a permanent decision. Have 3 choices. You've got the best chance of having a long-term, successful life. You could be in the army for 50 years. 50. Imagine that. Retire when you get out. And it gets easier as you've been in longer because you've got more credibility. You got your rank on your chest. It's like your voice is louder. It's fantastic. And just jump between the corps. They'll let you do it. Equity and diversity. Never look at what the person beside you is carrying, whether it's less or more than you, whether they're at work before you or they're longer than you. Because again, depending on your roles and responsibilities and your positions within whatever organisation, one day you're going to be taking it easy while the other person's working hard. One day you're going to be wet while the other person is dry. If you get in and you think it's not fair that that person over there is sucking back coffees and Coke in Q8 while you're clearing streets in Baghdad, then remember one thing. You chose to be in the seek out and close the enemy, kill or catch him, seize and hold ground, repel attack by day or night, regardless season, weather, terrain. And that guy or gal chose transport as one of their choices. That could have been you, but you chose not to. So equity and diversity, it's always different. Equipment and roles, we've spoken about that as well. When you see people that tell you the negatives of the army, and some people will tell you that, what you should do, what you should say to them, tell us what you think of this fugly or Mr. Buckaroony, is turn around and look straight back to that person that's giving a negative slight to the institution, whether it's police, whether it's fire brigade, whether it's paramedic or army, whether it's not just law enforcement, but whether it's working in the prisons, and say to the person that is being so negative, because they might be just having a bad day. They might have a girlfriend that has never got back down on her knees again after you put the ring on, the calamari ring, and said, I will do this forever and it tastes like chicken. Well, I digress. What was I going to say? Ask the person. So what you're telling me is that you regret ever getting in the military. Is that what you just told me? Oh, no, I didn't regret getting in. So why are you trying to cut off my future before it begins? How do you know that I'm not going to have a differing experience like Kaz said and Mr. Buckaroony said and Kane nodded his head to, all right? And Lauren said, I can attest to that, because guess who knows the most about the truth about soldiers? It'd be Lauren, the girl that used to tattoo them when they think they're speaking into oblivion, but really it's getting heard and being compared to another 1,000 stories, right? And then diluted and then brought back to my observations are, they're nice guys. They talk tough until the needle goes deep in a full sleeve. The bob is here. All the pushies and sit-ups and max effort. What else we got there, Sam Soft? Is Angus Campbell doing a good job? It'd be easy for me to say no, because he's followed the path of the identity politics, but at the same time, would that be me jumping to conclusions, not seeing the 99 things that he's doing absolutely fantastic, preparing for war, preparing for whatever the next fight is Australia's going to be in? I don't know. But I will tell you that Angus Campbell was my boss, was my commanding officer when I was in the battalion. And I don't remember a thing he did that inspired me. Yep. And that was when it was me boss. So let's just say he hasn't come too far since then. You don't make it to Chief of Army because you're the best. Some of the officers that I worked with, that I worked for, I looked at them and I was confused on how they could be so good when they were so young. They had leadership and they are in positions now where I absolutely would sit there, open mouth, what would we call it? That sounds a bit weird. With admiration for what they do and what they stand for and how well they do it. Neville bloody Bartos, no cash here. Cash, none. You need to go and watch Chopper Team if you wonder what I'm talking about there. Lauren, jaded being the key word. Sorry, it moved. Jaded being the key word. Fugly, one day's experience is very different than another's. And I'll tell you what, you will lose a lot of credibility if all you ever do is whinge. After a while, it'll be la 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 la. And then when you have something good to say, something strong to say, there isn't the ears to listen to it. And you don't want to be like that. And I've been like that before. Thomas Townsend, thank you very much for the donation. And everyone that's given a donation tonight, not Sue Cow, you don't have to do it. But I appreciate it when you do. Hey, Kaz, just smashed my actual PFA today and all set for March the 31st. Hope you've been well. Here's a Coke for you. Thanks, man. Cheers, my mate. And I do love a Coca-Cola. It's one of the few vices I have. When you're a month out, that really sucks, doesn't it? Because if I was you, I would spend time with family, I'd spend time with friends, and remember one thing, because every experience differs. You're not going just to Kapuka team. You're going to IETs. There's no time off in between unless something special happens. So take into account that you might be about to work 6 months in a row, and that's without any hiccups, before you actually make it to a unit. And then when you make it to a unit, you might be there just in time to go on a brigade exercise, which is highly likely for the people that are about to get in March. Highly likely. Yep. And then there's no time off, because acclimatization doesn't mean sending TNT, Mr. Townsend, to Townsville and then tell him sit in the air conditioning to get used to the weather. No, it's training in the weather, in the target weather, to get you used to that heat, right? Drew, Sam Sophie, I'm not a soldier, but I was having a laugh with some soldiers about him banging death symbols on uniforms. It's a tough one, isn't it? You know, people say, what do you think about that? You know what? I want people to be scared of our soldiers. They're not being assholes, and it's an undershirt. It's not a uniform. They're not wearing it in town. You know, tattoos. I think they look awesome. If a soldier's got a tattoo up his neck, looks like a Viking, a Celt, you know, a Mongol, I don't care. Big deal. I don't like them on, actually, I do like them on their hands a little bit. If they're tasteful, they look awesome on their hands. It gives a little bit of a hint to people that the warrior beneath. What's the likelihood of deploying if I was infantry? That's a real tough one there. I don't know how to pronounce that. Fuvco? Where are you from, my man? We're in peacetime operations at the moment. Peacetime operations. Donald Trump has pulled everyone back, and that's not what people thought he was going to do. And what that's done is cause a theme where all Western forces are getting pulled back in, like blood going to the major muscle groups, to be able to prepare for the next threat when it occurs. Will it be domestic? Will it be against human? Will it be against public unrest? Who knows? But another one to that I'm about to speak after I'll speak to Kat so first, because it looks like an interesting thumbnail he's got there. No one knows, mate. No one can give you, even Special Force Intelligence cannot tell you when we're going to go somewhere again. Yeah? No one knows. Katza. Makes me angry. They pick people who are using the army benefits and don't have the balls to do combat roles. But then these people who aren't the best with the U session testing. What I said, mate, sorry. Makes me angry that they pick people who are using the army's benefits. Okay, got ya. And don't have the balls to do combat roles. But then these people who aren't the best with the U session testing, but get rejected. Okay, I'm not exactly sure, but I sort of get what you're saying there. There is ways, and it's not fair. We are one army. They say we're one army. We're not really. You know, we're not, because there is so many tectonic plates, you know, where it shifts and buckles against itself. And we've got the officers stream as well as the senior NCO stream and the NCO stream for that matter. And we don't have rank, we don't have gender, we don't have our religion, etc., on the wall of honor if we die. So why are they giving special political correct decisions and giving people a bump up, potentially putting those all around them in more danger because the books have been cooked and otherwise failed candidates have been given a chance to wear a uniform, and we have to stop that right now. Because I don't know what I'd do if I was a parent and found out I lost my son or daughter because they were surrounded by people that were not yet competent candidates, and because of the breaking down of the hurdles that you used to get through, okay, they're actually being able to sneak through the system. I know a lot more about that than I'm telling you guys. I actually don't know that myself. Where is it? I don't know that myself. How long does the commando training go for? I'm not actually sure. Ed B, 0230 for me. Gonna try getting some winks, and thanks for having me, team. Dean, I'll catch up with you soon. Good night. Maybe tomorrow, mate. I'd love to talk to you tomorrow. We've been on for 35 minutes, which means we've got 25 to go. Stay with us, team. Hope you get something out of it. Tonight, the emphasis was all about do not compare your experience with the military, but understand this, that in the army, when you put that beside a civilian job, the civilian doesn't get 8 weeks off. The civilian doesn't get 3 lunches a day. You don't get to get in helicopters. You don't get to get all your medical taken care of, despite the fact that we're the ones that injured you. You don't get to turn up, basically not knowing what you're going to be doing for the next day, then find out you're going somewhere for 3 months, where your ID card can become your passport. You've chose your destiny. You've chosen it. You've volunteered. And what will extend to that, what I was going to say before, is someone was laughing at our video because of the amount of soldiers that we have, the 60,000 of our Defence Force, 80,000 including reservists, saying how pathetic that small number is. This is the scary thing. The scary thing, and Mr. P would know about this, being having lived in 3 centuries. Is 6-3 Yankee. Here you go, mate. Good night, family. Kaz, Lauren, Ed B. There you go. Our army might be, and Air Force and Navy might be 80,000, including reserves. But also remember, nearly 800,000 men only, were mobilised in World War I when we had a population of 4,900,000, with a third of those being children and men that were too old to fight. 800,000. So, with a population now of 25 million, if a situation occurred either domestically abroad or for the defence of Australia, and they said mobilise, that 80,000 could swell to 3 or 4 million like a Zyrtec. It's going to be made up of regular forces. It's going to be made up of volunteers. Some people are still going to get told, no, you can't because you've got asthma. Some people are still going to get told they can't because they've got a broken cornhole, or they'll be sent as a cabin boy, okay, to Navy. There is going to be, in their failure to reach volunteers, if they don't get them, there's going to be conscription. This is where it's different. The volunteers for the Australian Army, should something happen at that level, that global level, again, like World War I, World War II, when the volunteers stop, it's going to be women as well, men and women, that are going to get told, okay, what we're going to do is lose a few kilos and you're stepping up and we're going to get you into shape and you're going to fight and you may not come back and you don't get a choice. And there is a law that is saying, no, you're going to fight. You don't have a choice. What is it you didn't understand, zombie? So don't mock our military for how small it is, because the smaller it is, that is so we can sustain a rock steady, ready to go force. And we already know that we can't do that. But every Western army is having the same situation. I said to you the other day that China has in the vicinity of 3 million soldiers, but they have a population of 1,300,000,000 and something million. So if you put things in perspective, you would think that their army is too small too. And theirs is even a paramilitary police force. So don't think that our 80,000 can't swell to something 10 times that number. Well, a lot more than 10 times, 100 times that number, very, very quickly. Yep. And you don't want that. You don't want to see people that aren't volunteers. But the sad thing about military service is the volunteers are normally the best of our society. And when they get killed, when they step forward, that leaves those behind that maybe didn't believe in it, or maybe they don't, or maybe they're selfish. I don't know. And then when they breed, are they going to breed the version of the people that don't stick up for the society, that walk past the screams in the night? We don't want that. Do our schools still learn about, if you don't like the spiritual side of it, if you don't like the religious side of it, can we at least teach the kids about the Good Samaritan? About the person walking past the person that had been horribly beaten and robbed, the person that reached down and gave them aid, that gave them a drink of water, that gave them shade? Do we teach that? Is the Australian way, is the Western way starting to disappear? Are we so drowned out by institutions that aren't here anymore, that let the zombies roam the streets, that people just don't want to get involved anymore? I don't know. JC would know more about that than me. Neville Bartos, don't let them push you into something you don't want to do. That's right. You've got all the chips here, Tim. You go in there with 3 choices, but you choose those 3 choices. And then you do the U session, and that makes it very easy for them. I hate to tell you, buddy, but you can't do the other 2, but we're going to put you in the other one. You could go into the military thinking you're going to be there for 4 years and come out 40 years later flying Westpac choppers, saving lives of fishermen that went out when they shouldn't have in the ocean, all because you ended up in aviation corps and then had another go at Loadmaster and showed everyone that you are a better version of what you ever could have been once you calmed down and stopped looking at girls and they realised it wasn't that you were dumb, you were just transfixed for Fiona, who was sitting in the front row. Give yourself every opportunity to fly, and you just might. Sam Soft. And the other thing too, the things that you don't qualify for when you go for your U session, once you're already in the army, I don't think there's an aptitude test to go and then go for them. You can just core transfer based on whether you have come from something that's costing too much money to get you there. If it sounds like a logical choice that you can take from infantry and then go to aviation, good to go. Infantry to intelligence corps, no worries. But they're not going to let someone from aviation go, all the money is spent on me buying a pilot, now I want to go for infantry. That ain't going to happen. Mr. P says, Lauren, mine is blue. I don't know what's happening here. Mr. Buccarini, Kane, how fit are you? If you can't do 60 push-ups and 100 sit-ups and run 5 kilometres out and train, mate, get away from the keyboard and get to it. Mate, I'm in the QPS, says JC. I would highly recommend the reserve. The Army Reserve is one of the best things that you can do for yourself, for your family. If you have a career like police force, they expect you to go to Army Reserve. Don't do be in an IT role and then go in there and do IT. Go in there and do something completely opposite, where you go out and get wet, get dirty, fire weapons. Just take it easy and bloody go on a Kentucky to a mad mother. Right? Have a good time and get paid to do it and make some stories, and then go back to the family. That's if you've got a good career. Why wouldn't you? G'day, Grid. How you going, mate? Josh Murray, Kaz, what's your thought on the ADF gap year program? Look, I'm sort of tossed in between, Josh. Some part of me, everyone is an individual. I get that. The gap year scares me because I don't want people that want to try before they buy. I want people to be committed if they want to stand beside me, if they want to stand beside Retro Gaming, if they want to stand beside Stickman or Sam. I want them to be committed. I want them to stand beside them and go, I want to be here, and I've signed on for 4 years, and that's how long I'm going to give you. 100% until the day I walk back out that gate. You just don't know that with gap year, and they work too damn hard. And some of those guys and gals that get in and realise, hey, shit, all that I do by doing this gap year, you're getting the 6 months of hard training out of me at the same level as someone going to regular forces, but then you're kicking me out to Army Reserve after that, and it's like, oh, well, Jesus, I've worked pretty hard for nothing, it feels like. Seems like it's too hard to work to just give it away and then go back to reserves. But if that's the only way you can get in those positions available in gap year, I'd say do that. But be very open to then going to a unit and saying, I'll sign on for the rest of my 4 years. I've already done my parole time. Is there anyone here that this is their first time here? If so, can you please put your thumb up in the comments so we can send out some goodwill to you and maybe listen to a question that you may have. The Fields of Omar. That's a nice name. Okay, mate, thanks. Only looking into it now, JC. Happy to hear good reports. That's a nice name. Jake Zolta. G'day, Kaz. How you going, mate? How you going, Jake? Jake the Snake. She cares about your size, workout, and build strength. Actual strength, and get out of it, Robbie Wool. Christian D. Robbie Wool is not new here, team, and that's a very racist hand you put up too, mate. I forget what I was going to say. So, Christian D, good to have you here, mate. If you have a question, put it down and let's hear it. Jake, good to have you here. The Bop is here. Great to have the Bop back. And Reese Leon, great to have you here. Let us know what you do, what you think, and where you're going with your life, because we've got 15 minutes left. We want to hear your voice via the typing. Will, so if during a U session I say my top 3 and ask for previous experience as physio, can you just push for infantry? You can still push for that. They might say, why don't you go for medical corps or whatever? But at the end of the day, it doesn't have to be something you've done before. It can be just where you want to go in the future with the friends that you want to be surrounded by. If you were a real solitude sort of person that likes to work by yourself and all that, maybe intelligence is where you want to go to, or signals corps, because they're small teams. They're usually on picket by themselves for long periods of time in remote locations. Infantry is a bunch of us dickheads sitting around laughing, and just swapping fake news all day, all night until we get told to shut up like it's our dad talking to us at a camp. Will, Joseph Barker, totally here for the first time, but Kaz, you're right about reserves as to why I'm doing it. That's good. All it does is give you a level up in life as a civilian, give you some interests, especially in this gunless society, which I'm starting to disagree with. I know you don't want us to have the guns, JC, but as someone that is a YouTuber, I would love to have the ability to be able to lock and load if I hear a bump in the night. Madison, sorry, team, I'm here late. You were here before. Lovely, Madison. You're always welcome. JJ Joshua Jackman says, what other place an infantry soldier can look forward to traveling to other than the common places like Iraq and all that? Well, we're the head of security at El Gora in the Sinai Peninsula, which observes the Camp David peace accords between Israel and Egypt. You can go to the Kenioe Bay, which is the Marines in Hawaii, or go over there and do an exchange with the Army. You can go over on a long look and exchange with the Brits. You can go over to New Zealand and do exchanges over there and command New Zealand troops, etc. There's a lot of things you can do, and there's things happening all the time, and they're also sending people over here. Neville Bartos has got to go. That's fine, mate. That's fine. JC, yeah, I hear you, Kaz, but guns shouldn't be in the hands of civilians, especially the military-grade weapons they have in America. Yeah. Look, I agree with that. I do agree with that. And what I also see, JC, with the US, what would be a fantastic weapons familiarity testing you do to make sure that you're safe to use it. And that would allow retired servicemen, retired police officers to be able to run those courses, which would be a phenomenal amount of income that comes into those retired people that still need somewhere to go, that have a skill set that can't be replicated. So I think that'd be a great thing. Refined Alpha Gaming, is the ADF worth the time and effort? Absolutely. Refined Alpha Gaming, mate, I was in for 24 years. 24 years, got out for medical conditions, and I miss it every single day. And I do this now because I miss it, to give you a little bit of a light in the fog of war, to allow you to see and illuminate outside the opinions that you might hear of others why I want to do it. My actions should be louder than what my words are. I could have made a gaming channel. I could have had a travel channel. But I came and I've stuck with what I was the subject matter expertise with. Yeah. What if the government turns on us? And they won't turn on us. If they do, it's normally a leftist sort of thing, and I don't think we're going to have the same drama as the US will. M18A1, the Claymore. I totally agree with you, Kaz. Cheers, buddy. Mr. P. Buck loves the view. It's fantastic. That is rant when vlogging. Mr. P, I hope you're feeling well today, mate, and that your prune juice tastes good as well. Kaz, you're a light in the fog, my brother. A fart in an elevator. Look, I had a lot of options. I had a lot of options when I got out of the army, and some of those were to go on the piss. I'll answer that in a second, Mr. Buckaroony. National service, what do I think about it? I think it would be the catcher's mitt for lost souls. I think it would. And I'd go there as a mentor, like a Zyrtec, like that, Nutsu cow, to go and help on that. But I also believe that people over the age of 40 should be allowed to go and volunteer to be part of the police cold case files. And once the police put you through an aptitude test, once they determine that you're not just going to be a waste of time or an actual fat Dexter or Ted Bundy, Jeffrey Dahmer in disguise, a Green River Killer, trying to find out about their case, I think that'd be great to have volunteers for the police force as well. Volunteers at fire stations that, you could go there, make them a meal, do whatever. Give people a sense of belong, somewhere to be. Mr. Buckaroony was talking about public speakers at jails. What do you think about that, Mr. Buckaroony? Someone's going to be there for another 40 years. Probably not much you can do to inspire him, but someone that could come in there as they're getting closer and closer to coming out and say, this is what life can be, that someone's giving a damn to you, so maybe give some back. You got in here because you disrespected everyone, so don't ask us to respect you while you're in. I'm going to say, so national service, I think there is a lot of people that could be wearing uniforms, that could be getting paid, that don't necessarily have to handle weapons, initially, to be able to be employed and to be able to do work around Australia, where you could have 500 of them go out to cities, to towns, to areas of Australia and help where they can, where they help the public, where they help farmers, instead of just giving a farmer another grant or something that he still has to pay back with no interest. He could end up with 50 people out there working on his fences helping him. As long as there's not a conflict of interest, I'd be all over that. I'd be happy for it. Darren Mullen, did you find the officers who came from a posh background have a better influence with their subordinates, or the officers who are more down to earth and made an attempt with the men and women? Darren, that's a real tough one. As much as you want the officer to be your friend in the second year, you don't want him to be your friend in the first year. Familiarity breeds contempt, and there's several reasons why an officer might be trying to befriend his soldiers. One, he's their age, pretty much. Two, he's very lonely. They're normally in a position where they're not allowed to be communicating with the soldiers in a way that they hang out with them after work. And the platoon sergeant should be with the platoon commander at all functions. And when the platoon sergeant says to the platoon commander, grab your bloody homosexual looking collared shirt there and let's get in a taxi, an Uber or whatever and get out of here, then by protocol you're supposed to do that. You don't try and spend the night with the soldiers, because I'll tell you now, it is very rare that the platoon commander of an infantry platoon has more leadership than some of the section commanders and some of the soldiers themselves. The last thing you want to do is to lose credibility in front of the men that you can never get back, or do something that destroys your own credibility, right? Or shows people the real human beneath that. There has to be a way that the platoon sergeant illuminates the platoon commander's strengths while hiding some of his weaknesses, but letting the soldiers know through his voice that has credibility, the boss ain't perfect, but we keep this shit in-house, all right? Leave it up to me to speak to the platoon commander if he's not doing his job. Yeah. By being aloof, by being posh, as you would say, what that does is gives that difference. It gives you that stream in between the two roles, and he has to be able to make hard decisions and potentially push soldiers into danger. And that shouldn't be based on put the dickhead up the front. If he gets shot, that warns the rest of us, okay, which way we should be going towards the enemy. I was always pushed up as a scout. Am I meant to be getting the hint? Okay, Lauren, awesome. Madison, Sparky, push-ups, Giuliano. Hey, Kaz, in your opinion, what is a good way to convince parents that military is a good way to go? Specifically, I want to go to cadets, but my mum doesn't want me to. Cadets is a fantastic one. There is no pain penalty to that. Did the screen just go crazy? There's no pain penalty to that. There's not really much that can go wrong. It's going to keep you off the streets. You're going to be told that you have a uniform. They're going to tell you that they want you to do well at school, because if you're going to go from cadets to Army Reserve or regular Army, then part of your mission, you've got no excuse if you come from cadets and you're a shit fight at Kapuka, okay? Because you've learned how to wear a uniform. You know how to march. You've done a whole bunch of little skills that will give you an outside edge, but it's better than you being out in the street, rubbing shoulders with sometimes the wrong crowd. And when it comes to actually join the regular Army, if someone's parents don't agree or is like, oh, I'm not sure, that's because they love you. It's because they're looking after you. The best way to silence a critic is through action. It's through them seeing you getting up, going for runs, doing push-ups, doing well at school, action. And then they're going to go, he's really serious about this. She's really serious about this. Madison, doing a great job. Yeah. You will shut your critics up through action when they see you start changing. Remember, when people go for the military, they're normally at the most volatile time of their life, when their maturity level and their body doesn't even know what the hell is going on. Right? So it's easy to come across as a bit bombastic and people to think, that's just another phase. It's very hard when you don't have this channel to be able to explain to people what you want to do and why you want to do it. But we used to have so many great videos before we got scammed and taken down, 530 something videos we lost, that you could have said, well, why don't you look at this video and share that video. And this is the reason why I want to go. I want to be not necessarily just in that role, but I want to know that all around me, my area of influence, I'm surrounded by people that give a damn. They're not there because it's for the money. They're there for the mission. I don't know anyone that gets in the Army because they want to hurt someone. I know plenty of people that get in the Army because they don't want the political correctness and the bullshit of civilian life. They want to be able to get into a helicopter. They want to get in an LCM8. They want to go to Hawaii on Golden Eagle and play rugby league in front of Marines and watch them go, holy shit, these guys are mad. They want to spew in their helmet in an Amtrak. They want to use weapons. They want to be overseas. They want to be able to say to people, Australia's here. There you go. Or tip the slouch hat. And Anzac Day, that's your new birthday. Remembrance Day. Stand for something. Have something you can give to your family. Have an heirloom that you can give something for your family to wear when you're gone. Otherwise, what do you got? What we do for others is what defines us. Medals don't define me. My military career doesn't define me. My little girl does a little bit in the way I treat her. That's when she first existed. That's the most precious thing I own if a fire happened. What defines me is what I do now, is what I do for others when no one's watching. When I give to people that don't expect to be receiving. To answer the phone call when it'd be easy to leave it on the lounge. What defines us is what we do when we don't think we're being watched. Not the uniform we wear. That's just what holds us to account in ourselves as well as in the military system. JC says, Kaz, can you tell us the story of that frame beret behind you? I can, my friend. JC, that frame beret up there is from one of the toughest men that I've ever met. And his name was Mike Elliott. And that was his beret, and he's from the Ranger Battalion. Not Ranger qualified, the Ranger Battalion. There's only 3 of those battalions. Think of them like commando battalions in the US. Yep. And basically, he worked beside me in the tactics and leadership division. Now, this guy could beat people running, and he was a bull, really good at jiu-jitsu, tough guy, striker as well, had a jaw like Roger Ramjet, good looking, had a family, 2 boys, 2 dogs, lovely wife. But he was one of them good old boys, and he was one of the funniest bastards you've ever met, and excellent at bloody Call of Duty as well. He ate hard, he fought hard, he drank hard, and he danced hard. He believed that before he'd met his wife, that when he picked up a girl, he was just giving her a gift, the gift of the perfect night. So working beside this guy, he gave me that as a gift, his beret with the US flag. Beneath that is from Julian Chavez, which is a fantastic poker set, which I'll show you another day. And then under here is another beautiful gift from the Rangers, which is their limited edition. And this one was from Josh Hossiger, which is all of these guys now are company sergeant majors in special forces units in the US. And this is the rug. Okay. Only 2,000 of these were made, and that's more than what there is soldiers in those Ranger battalions. So I've been very, very lucky because I was always the first point of contact for these guys when they came to Australia, and I made sure that they felt welcome. I got a Roman officer's helmet for Mike Elliott, and it was so easy. When I got in the plaque, all I could think of when I thought about Mike Elliott was inspirational character, was more warrior than soldier. So that was the nameplate. And the whole point behind that was so that when he goes back to USA, on his desk, when tough guys walk in, veterans, some of them wounded and repaired, they see the Roman helmet with the plume down, with his Australian gift saying more warrior than soldier. It was a fantastic gift. I wanted to keep it myself, but it looked better on him. I've got a head like a prawn sometimes. He was I will tell you, JC, some of the stories about this guy, some of his combat stories. Crazy. Here we go. Baz Bradford, how you going, mate? Good to have you here. We're about to hop out of here, team. That's been over an hour. It's time for some of you guys to get back, get some sleep, get ready for the streams for the fortnight to come out. Or Battlefield 5 for someone like myself. But, team, I just had to jump on. I'm going to let you know a little bit about Kapuka. We've got a video and a live stream coming out to assist those with the manual for Kapuka, basically, to tell you how to get through there easy, and that it's a mindset rather than an action. Yep. So, guys and gals, if we haven't got too much more, what exercise did you do to prepare for ADF? I just lived in a different time. I was surfing twice a day. Okay, boogie boarding, right? And when I wasn't doing that, I was Army Reserve. I was either running or doing push-ups. My scores, I was running under 18 minutes because it was the 5 kilometre back then. I was doing the maximum score for the dorsal raises, which was what they had instead of the sit-ups. I was doing, at the time, 24 chin-ups, but that got up to 34 by the time I got to Rwanda. And then the run, I was doing the 5 kilometres in under 19 minutes. So I never had a problem with fitness. All right. Yeah. Army fit. That's what you need to be. And it'll never be enough. It was never enough for me because they just gave you more jobs. So it was tough. It was great for the sex life. Girls were like, I don't know if I want that again. Can't keep up. Coops, glad I found you on my journey to the ADF. It's good to have you here, mate. And I've got to tell you, if you know anyone that is thinking about joining the military, then this is the channel I need to come to, because you can throw away the bits you don't want, but this is the only channel that's going to tell you the information that you need to hear that is above the line, the information that you cannot find at recruiting. Okay, from the platoon sergeant's mouth. I can let you know exactly what you need. And it doesn't matter that I haven't been in for 4 years now, because at the end of the day, principles don't change. Technology does, but principles don't. Right. I'm in your corner. That's me in the corner, Mr. P. And I wish that I could tell you. I wish I could tell you what's going on with Lauren. But she'll tell me when I can tell you, and then I will. And it's awesome. All right, guys. Great to have you here. Subscribe right now. Like if you can, so YouTube keeps us on the air. And I look forward to answering your questions. I really do. I could do this every night. I'd love it. Okay. Thanks very much for those that donated. Thank you very much to those that are looking at this after we've got after the live has finished. Thank you to those that are the moderators. Thank you very much to the Patreon. We've got a big thing coming up, and Lauren is the one that pointed that out to me. And I look forward to speaking to you again soon when I cleaned all the spit off this mic. So let's make Australia great again. Okay? Let's worry about our brothers and sisters. Okay? And remember, shit, I'm a mumbling idiot tonight. Remember the Good Samaritan. Help those before they ask for help. And that's how we become an amazing country. If you do it in peace, we don't have to do as much in war. See you later. We're a country worth fighting for, I believe. And that's Kaz in the trenches. Out to you, hoping that tomorrow you scar your tongue with your over hot coffee. Take it easy. See you later.